Gonçalo, what's happening at Man United and how will we fix these issues at the club?
I think I have really strong feelings about this. This is as clear as day right now.
It's not Ruben Amorim.
The problem is not Rúben Amorim. The problem are the players.
Completely.
And I'm gonna say I'm gonna go bold now, and I'm gonna be quite generous because you can't sack all the players. And this is something I've told you and Pedro, I've told you on camera as well.
Yes.
And I think they need a total restructure. But since you can't get rid of all of the players, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you Matthias de Ligt, Mazraoui. I'm going to say Kobe Mainu. I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes. And I'm going to say Amad Diallo. The rest, get rid of them. I know this is tough.
Bruno Fernandes, I don't know, mate.
I know. I understand. I'm being generous. That's what I said.
No, so you mean to say that all the other players, you would let them go?
I would
Hoyland?
Look.
Garnacho?
If you wanna build a world-class club, because I think United standards shouldn't be just to win the Premier League.
Yeah, completely.
This is the reason why people support Manchester United, not just the Premier League. Okay.
Exactly.
If you want a world-class club, you need to hire world-class players. I'm being tough. Okay, Dalot works hard. Eriksen works hard.
Not good enough.
But not good enough.
They're
and then you
fullbacks,
have
not wing
players
backs.
that are people seem to think they're really good, like Marcus Rashford, like Alejandro Garnacho. But what do? They are not working. The working conditions are not there.
One thing is embarrassing. Not one thing. A lot of things at Man United currently are embarrassing. But for me, it's Marcus Rashford is the player that has the most goals for Man United in the Premier League. He's got 4. And he's been weeks out.
Wow.
So how does a Rasmus Højlund feel? How does a Xerxes feel? How does a Bruno Fernandes feel? If they don't feel guilt towards these numbers, they can't be in Man United. The level of the club, like 4 goals scored, is currently Rashford, the top goal scorer in the Premier League for Man United.
It's insane.
That's a huge issue. When I'm watching Manchester United, Newcastle, I'm thinking to myself, Alexander Isak is a Manchester United type player.
Right.
He's the best player on this pitch. We're living in a time that now the best player is at Newcastle, not at United.
It's crazy.
Mad. And it's a consequence of poor recruitment, bad development, and bad decision making at the top. It wasn't Ten Hag's fault. It isn't Ruben Amorim's fault. It's the management's fault to not get the right players.
100%. And talking about Rasmus Højlund, I think Rasmus Højlund is a good player. I think Manchester United fans agree with this. The only problem is he was not proven. It was a big gamble. We can't make these gambles. He scored what with Atalanta in the Serie A? 8-9 goals.
60 million that you cannot spend like
8-9 goals.
And that's the thing too. You spend 80 million on Maguire. You spend more than 90 million on Anthony. How can you justify and do a good salary structure if you're paying these people these amounts of money? Yes. I love Bruno Fernandes and Rashford, but they're the top earners at the club and they're not putting top numbers on the pitch. And that is a big issue. And watching that Newcastle against Man United game, because it was recently, you could feel that I love Mazraoui, but he's got to go at right center back. Wing back or full back will not work for Mazraoui in this sense. Attacking, like we saw from Pedro Porro, Nuno Mendes, Giovanni Kenda, Catamo. Nuno Mendes could go to this Man United team and it would be a huge solution. So every Man United fan, please understand, wing backs, they're not correct. Center backs, they're not correct. The midfield, Eriksen, Casemiro, that's a huge alarm. Just seeing those two. Ederson would be better. There's a lot of players that would add a ton of more value. And I would like to see it Manchester United next season. Ederson, mate. And I really wanted to say on tape, like, if Man United sign Ederson from Atalanta to replace Eriksen, Casemiro midfield, game changing.
I actually have a question for you. Do you think Nuno Mendes is the right man for the left back position, wing back?
I think so. For Manchester United with Ruben Amorim, for the situation, For the no trust in that locker room, I think the best solution he could have would be to get Nuno Mendes for the left wing back. And look, this is bold. And people can say I'm unrealistic with this, okay? Theo Hernandez is also amazing. But people can say I'm unrealistic with this. But if Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, give a blank check to Bastoni, to Nuno Mendes, and let's say they get Omar Marmoush from the Bundesliga, like, that's a new left side, and 100%. I guarantee you they would have the intensity to play under Ruben Amorim. I said Son last episode, but Son is an aging player.
I understand that. The only problem I have with Nuno Mendes
is
that he's injury prone.
That's true.
And Manchester United is struggling on the left with injury prone players.
But when Nuno Mendes isn't injured, he is one of the best wing-backs in the world. So what does Man United have to do? Sign 2 left wing backs. A player that is a star left wing back and another one that can be seen as a backup.
Who do you think that is? Don't do it.
I hope they don't go for him because I live in Portugal. I go watch Benfica too. Just like I said with Guedes with Sporting. Álvaro Carreras. There could be a chance that Álvaro Carreras goes back to Manchester United because it would cost the club less than 20 million.
I don't see a scenario where Álvaro Carreras doesn't go back to United, unfortunately. Ooh. I don't see it because he's doing so well. He's performing in the league, in the Champions League, even in the games where we don't play too well. He does well. I think he's such a reliable player to have on the bench, maybe even starting for Manchester United. Mm-hmm. And they have a clause of buyback clause of 18 million. Man, you spent crazy amounts of money. How much are you going to spend on Nuno Mendes?
Very true.
How much could you spend on Theo Hernandez, on Cambiaso? Man, I see this as a very, very good solution, and I hate to say it. I love Benfica. I'm a very big Benfica fan, but I don't see a scenario where he doesn't.
And us talking about 2 left wing backs needed in Manchester United, for me, just shows that this is the worst squad of Manchester United I've ever seen in my life.
No.
It gets that feeling, okay? It does. Ruben Amorim, when he looks at the players, he looks in the training ground, and he thinks, Amad Diallo is in his last year of contract. I've got Anthony, I've got Rashford, I've got Bruno Fernandes. How is this happening at this club? That this organization is insane. It's really insane. So I really want to make Manchester United fans think about this. This is the worst team I've ever seen in my life. I'm 26 at Manchester United. I believe Ruben Amorim is here to fix these issues, but he needs time and more than 3 transfer windows. January, summer, give him next January. Minimal, okay, for me to be saying this, that, and the other thing. I think 2 years is what he'd be the best.
I think 2 transfer windows, to be fair. I think managers, they need time, but they also need results.
True.
And in the end, Ruben Amorim,
he himself says that.
Yeah, 100%. He lost 6 matches in 11.
Yeah,
it's tough. It really is tough. I think we all Manchester United players, and it's really important that we stick together in supporting Ruben. I think it's a Mourinho win, and I think that's unanimous to most United players the United fans that we see.
Do you think so? I see a lot of Manchester United fans now turning on Ruben Amorim.
I understand. The losses are coming in, and it's tough to lose. But I still think
I think they have no football knowledge if they're saying that immediately.
Exactly.
Because if you're making these types of decisions, Ruben Amorim costs how much to come in and to leave Erik ten Hag? That's 24 million, the whole process. And Ruben Amorim doesn't come to Manchester United because Manchester United is having top results. He doesn't come to Manchester United because Rashford is one of the best players in the world. He comes to Manchester United because United currently doesn't develop world-class players at the highest level, okay? Kobe Mainoo, that's one of a kind, okay? In the so many years of Erik ten Hag and what we've seen in the past. So it's a mega issue. And Amad Diallo was on loan at Sunderland, and he was amazing, okay? Right. But he hasn't been amazing with other managers. But now with Ruben, it's good to see. So who would you get for Manchester United in January? If there's one player you'd like to see going and becoming
If there's one player, I think...
Realistic and unrealistic, let's say.
Realistic and unrealistic. I'm gonna go Cambiaso for left back.
Andrea Cambiaso of Juve, like it?
I really like Nuno Mendes, and I think it's an amazing option. But I think he's not as reliable and is more injury prone in that sense, not in the quality sense. And I think Cambiaso is a really, really good option. I would go for a player that is doing so well and is going under the radar. that is Tiani Reinders. Tiani Reinders is
Would he
doing...
leave AC Milan?
You said I could pick even if he doesn't leave. Come on.
Man United, that would be insane. Yeah.
Do you know why? I think Bruno Fernandes needs competition.
Yeah.
I think we need someone to challenge Bruno Fernandes. I think he's no, I wouldn't say slack off, but he's not performing as well as we've seen him perform. And I think Tiani Reinders could challenge Bruno Fernandes. Huh?
I completely agree with you. Completely agree. The biggest thing that I see with Man United, and now you mentioned Tiani Reinders, is the intensity of the midfield.
Wow.
I look at Casemiro and I look at Ugarte, I'm sorry to say this too, but I look at the Sporting midfield this season with Martin Huylman and Morita, and I look at the midfield of Eriksen and Casemiro. It could be capped for Premier League fans. It could be biased for Premier League fans. But I'm sure that Martin Huylman and Morita is a better midfield, a more balanced midfield, a better midfield for Champions League than Eriksen and Casemiro this season. Why does Real Madrid sell Casemiro at the top? Because that's the best point to sell him. This is the thing. Like, if you're going to negotiate with Real Madrid, a player over the age of 30, Real Madrid, they know what they're doing, okay? They know that United should be the team that gets a Tchouameni before a Real Madrid.
Right.
Not the team that buys a Casemiro of Real Madrid. Times have changed. You used to get a Cristiano Ronaldo when he was at Sporting. And Ani, like, you would get the star before he was the star. And Man United now are slacking with the scouting, and that has to change. So the player I'd like to see realistic, mate, Milos Kerkez or Nuno Mendes. I think both are realistic.
Very nice.
Unrealistic.
I agree.
Victor Gyökeres. If it's a blank check, and that's going to happen.
If it's a blank check, I think Victor Gyökeres must be an option for Manchester United. Again, what I've stated, if you want Manchester United to compete for the Champions League, which is my standards of Manchester United, I think you need to get world-class players. Victor Gyökeres this year scored more goals. This is insane stat. More goals than Cristiano Ronaldo best year ever.
No.
61.
No.
He scored 62.
No. Ronaldo's best year, 69 goals.
69 goals calendar year?
Yeah, in a calendar year.
Is this a mistake? I apologize.
No, but I like it. I like how you're hyped
62 goals, man.
No, Victor Gyökeres was the player that scored the most goals in 2024. And that's insane.
No, of course, man.
But going with what you said too, it's Man United last 3 home league games, 0 wins. And then you see in the last 4 matches, 0 wins too. So let's see what Ruben is going to do to make things different. Comment down below, what do you believe Ruben Amorim has to do? Amad Diallo, best player Man United under the Ruben Amorim era, confirm to me yes or no in the comment section. Then I know that you're listening until the end of the video. If you're watching until now this FC Wonderkid video, thank you so much for your support.
And don't forget to like this video.